In this video, we're going to explain expression pathing and why it might be breaking for you. So here I've got a quick example. I've just got a quick little workflow here that pulls information from a spreadsheet. It grabs some information about video topics that I wanted another workflow to make. It runs it through an edit fields node that just kind of grabs some information. It runs it through an AI in order to just write something about that information. It merges it together. And then I have another edit fields node over here that's going to then go ahead and just set my fields once more. And so here, I'll come in here and I'll show you. My expression is .item.json and then the name of the field that I want to set a field for. And this is going to work. Even though I have a merge node here, even though I've split the data apart, I've brought it back together, what's going on is that there is a clear and direct path from this edit fields node all the way back to the spreadsheet that I'm pulling information from. So here I have pull info again. That's the name of my spreadsheet over here that I'm pulling it from. I have .item. And it's able to go, okay, I'm able to look back in the path, back in the chain of the code that this n8n workflow represents, and I'm able to figure out that these 6 items that I've got correspond exactly with 6 items that I'm able to see. And so we have 3 coming from this row and 3 coming from this row, and so it finds 6, even though there were only 3 items. And so it works. Kinda, right? It didn't quite exactly work because I only had 3 items in my spreadsheet, but it was able to match up each of the 6 items to an item that came from the spreadsheet. And so with the .item, it works all right. Now, if I try something else like first, it's going to give me give me 6 items again because 6 iterations are coming through here, but it's only giving me the first of the items. And in this case, it's right here. So the creating a brand that stands out, there's creating a brand that stands out. All right, I can do last as well. That'll give me the last one. So this one, designing AI workflows that work for you. The other option that we have is all. And I'm not going to use all because it's not necessarily going to work. If I do all here, I have to put a number in here. It's going to be undefined. How about 1? Has no branches with an index of 1. That's because nothing here has an index. These are all kind of individual items in an index. So all does not work. But item does work. And I just wanted to show that really quick. That item does work, even though it didn't quite work correctly. And so because it didn't work correctly, I didn't necessarily want 6 items. I wanted to be able to figure out what was the specific 1 item that I had here. I might use a different option. Now, to do this, you probably need a little bit extra coding, and I'll show you why here. So there's 2 things. There's something I could have done here. And actually, let's come here. I'll show you this really quick, just because it'll help you understand the next part. So I've got these 6 items, but I don't want 6 items. I only really want 1 item coming in, and we're just going to do set all items into one, all fields into 1 item. We're going to hook this up to my edit node. And it's going to break. And it's going to break because now that I've got this aggregate node here, it's taking the 6 items, it's combining them into 1 item, and now the .item is not going to be able to figure out where each of the things came from because there's only 1 item that's showing up. And it's not sure, did it go down the left path? Did it go down the right path? How did it end up here? Where is this piece of data from? And so it errored. And it's because my expression doesn't work here because .item does not allow this to figure out where it came from. Now, again, I could use a first, and this sometimes works, but if I do this, it's only going to give me the first item, and that's not quite what I want. And so you'll often find that a code node will break this. Show you here. So I'll run this through. So I'm pulling the information, I'm setting my fields, I'm then running it through the AI. Instead of having this kind of branching with the merge, I'm just going to run it straight through. I'm going to run it through the code node. And the code node, what it does is it's supposed to take these items over here, and it's going to create a single list of all 3 items. So here's my single list of all 3 items that came from my spreadsheet. But again, this guy's not able to figure out where that's from. It's a single list. I'm not sure, it's not sure where the video topic item from my spreadsheet is, because there was 3 there originally, but now I've only got 1 and it can't figure out where the path is. And you also see that with aggregate nodes. And I should give you an example of that. So here I have, we have a branching path. This one loops through each of the 3 items first, and then it also runs it through the AI. It then merges them together. It aggregates all the data into a single, item once more, and then it's going to break. And in this particular case, it's broken, like, because the aggregate node just it's called flattened. It's flattened all the information together, and it can't figure out where it's supposed to be pulling the information that I'm asking for from a previous node. It's not that it doesn't know that there's not a node there. It just can't figure out which of the 3 items that came from way down here, over here, 1, 2, 3, it just can't figure out which video topic I'm asking about when I say item. Because there's only one thing coming through, but there were 3 pieces of data way back there. All right, so how do you fix all of that? Well, depending on how you have your data coming through, you might be able to do what we'll call a first. You can use a first. That just escaped me for some reason. So again, if I do first, it's only going to give me 1. Well, that's not necessarily helpful. It's not always helpful, I should say. And so what we can possibly do here is, maybe instead of the aggregate node, what we're going to do is we're going to move this over. We're going to come over here. We're going to set the edit fields here first. And instead of the pull info again, my spreadsheet, let's go ahead and grab the information from this edit fields. Let's see if that works. So we're going to change this to edit fields 2. We're going to try first. We'll see what happens. So it gives me 6 items. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So let's see here. How do I fix this? I don't think there is a way of fixing this. I tried very hard to figure out how to break this. n8n does a pretty good job of trying to make it work, and so it broke with a lot of effort. And so we have 3 pieces of data coming here, 3 pieces of data coming here. They all get merged. There's no good way to get just a single item out of here, because I've got 6 items coming in. If I do a merge, let's see, maybe I'll show you a different workflow. Okay, now here's a production ready workflow that I actually have. This one makes YouTube video scripts. In fact, it's let's see, where did that guy go? This one. It's the same spreadsheet that I was actually using, came from this workflow. So you'll find it right there. Is that the one? So pull info again, that's the spreadsheet I was just using. And so I'll just give you an example. So I have information coming in from another agent. It processes the information and it outputs these items here. So video topic, company, style, length, etc. And it goes through this process up here. It processes it. It writes extra topics for my videos. It goes through it. It has a few code nodes in here. The important point I want to make, though, is that it's only doing 1 video at a time. All right, so I have another process that can run multiple things at a time, but even then I still only run 1 at a time using this loop down here. And the reason for it is because of this exact issue, this expression pathing issue that we're having. If we send too much data through at one time, we're not able to get the computer to figure out which path we're supposed to be on. So we have to try to find a way to kind of funnel it down to make it 1 piece of data coming through. That data can then be expanded out. But if I then need to pull from my original node where my information was coming from, way back here, that created my initial set of items that I'm working off of, I can come back here way deep into the workflow. I can use a first now. And the first is going to go way back here. I'm only going to have 1 item coming through. And because there's only 1 item, it will work. If this was set to a .item instead of .first, this would break. And it would break because I've got this loop right here with this code node. The loop processes a whole bunch of information, however many different topics there might be in the video. And as an example, I have this thing set up to be able to take videos that are like 30 minutes long and break them into like 5 different sections of, however long they need to be. And then each of those sections gets run through a process that does a Google research on it. It writes the sections, it creates headlines, it creates all kinds of stuff. It then smashes all of that information together into a single code node that I then get a single item output with, well, it's a single object output with a bunch of items in it. Rather than each iteration of the video's portions being separate objects, I just have one object with everything. And the purpose is so that I can upload everything to Google Sheets in one shot, in one item, rather than having 6 things come through and then having to figure out how to process it. But in order to be able to match it up to Google Sheets, I have to be able to pull from the original video name that I had way, way, way back at the beginning. And so this was an issue that I was having. It was just kept breaking over and over again. Pretty much every single one of these nodes here on the back half of this bot was broken because I had .item. And it was this code node right here that broke it. It took all of that information together and it smashed it into one item that then get processed through the rest. And because there was all that data smashed into one, it can't figure out which path it needs to take in order to get the video name from the very, very front. And so there I would just use a dot first. You might also do a dot last depending on your situation. If you do a dot all, you do have to be able to identify which indexed item that you're trying to pull from. And so that's a little bit more advanced. The average person probably is not going to need to worry about that too much. I can't say I've ever had to worry about a dot all pull. So I haven't even had to worry about a dot last either. I've pretty much only used dot first if I have to figure out how to fix my expression pathing. So if for some reason your .item, .json is not working, it's probably right here. It's because the information is being split apart and then put back together again. And then it just doesn't know how to get its way back to the original item that you're trying to pull from. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video because it really does help get that information out there to those who need it. Also, be sure to click the link in the description below to join my free school community where you have tons more n8n tutorials and how-tos, as well as a ton of n8n workflows that I've built for social media posting, for building your business, for product description labeling, for blog generating, all kinds of stuff to be able to help business owners just like you. As always, I'm Bradford Carlton. Let's automate your success together.